Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. We have a jam-packed, quick, fast show. Fastest highlights in 3 minutes of real draft, of real talk. The conversations start now. We picked a couple of games, not a bunch of, but a couple of games. We wanted to see who was the game of the week. They were to pick them games, and we have some games to talk about. We had a thriller that went down today in Dallas. In New York. And we had a thriller that went down in Miami. Both games we got to talk about. And the Ravens and with their young type of game we did in Baltimore against the NOLA Saints. All right, so week 9, Lions over the Bears 42-22. And the Lions are trying to make a comeback to be 500. They're starting to play good football. Quint Ewers, the 5-star, looked really good. 130.7, 235, 3 touchdowns, and 1 INT. He was only sacked once. Young Malachi Nelson touched the turf 5 times, 2 interceptions in this game. In the run game, there really wasn't no real run game there. Ewers kind of controlled that. Between the two of them, they were at 100 yards rushing. And in the receiver game, Drake London went off. Dave Herndon, the tight end, I got to take care of that tight end over here for the Lions as well, too. 4 catches, 103 yards with a touchdown. Stokes also scored in this game. In Chicago, Jake Johnson at the tight end position also had a touchdown in this game. And the Lions over the Bears in the NFC North battle decide they want to be back to 500. They're not trying to hear that shit right now. They're trying to get back at it right now. Then we slide into Baltimore, man. Got to get into Baltimore and go check out what happened with the Saints and the Ravens. Both teams came in this game flying high. Both teams came in this game with a lot on the line, man. They continue their dominance throughout the league right now. And, you know, the Saints had a lot more to play for. The Ravens had even more to try to play for. And at the end of the day, you had two really good teams this year meeting at the 50. Dig into it. Ravens dominated the offensive yards game, 432 to 241. The run game was dominated by the Baltimore Ravens, 163 to 24, and in the passing game, 269 to 217. 13 first downs to 10. So your first couple of stats when it comes down to the box score were dominated by the Baltimore Ravens. Anytime a team turns the ball over, you are in a situation, and the Saints turned it over 7 times. We'll talk about that in a second. Khalid Williams is running for his life back there. I don't know if we revealed a weakness for the New Orleans Saints. Is their offensive line strong enough for this team to be a playoff potential team? Because they really got after Khalid Williams today. Caleb, right? They went after his neck today. They was hunting. And let's get into it. All right. Anthony Iverson had 109.7 QB rating. Khalid struggled today, 48.2. 3 for 257 yards. No touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and was sacked 8 times. You know that defensive line everybody talking about? Well, not everybody, but some guys are talking about right now. Oh, my God. Yep, those guys flying around. They were getting after it right now. And it made Khalid timing was off, man. And we called that in the show earlier. We said if the Ravens can, you know, get Khalid off of his mark, they could have some success. And they got him off his mark and made him force him into 5 turnovers in this ball game. They got after him all game long. From blitzing, from not blitzing, it was just a dominant front 7 game on defense by the Baltimore Ravens in the run and passing game. The Saints also showed flashes, though. When they had the time, they were able to pick some things up and pick things apart. I do think they should have went to their running back a little bit more. I know it's hard to give a guy carries when he's only averaging 2.7 yards a carry. But, you know, some of those carries were effective and scary. I mean, he jumped over 2 linebackers, broke 2 tackles on one of his runs. It was a little scary. Bijan stepped in the game, 12 carries for 100 yards, 8.3 in the touchdown. Anthony Iverson contributed 10.6. He had 11 yards carry, 53 yards rushing. Nelson really didn't get it going, 2 carries for 3 yards. And Jamar Gibbs. And there's rumors that Jamar Gibbs is on his way out of Baltimore, but he also, you know, had a touchdown on the goal line. And the receiving game, young diaper dandy, Pistol Ward. And we're talking about the top receivers in the league this year. We can't talk about it without mentioning this kid's name. He went out and had a day. 8 catches, 212 yards, 27 yards per catch, 3 touchdowns in that game, 79 rack yards, 9.9 yards after he had a 77-yard bomb in this game. Amari Clark showed up and showed who he was when they was on a good accord, when they were timing and being able to have time to make some things happen. He averaged 19 yards per catch. Troy Franklin also produced for 3 catches, 70 yards on 23.3, but none of them got to see the end zone this game. And I would say that secondary, the DBs, I'm not going to put it all on Derek Stingley, although he showed up and showed off. We locked him on Troy Franklin. Nothing's doing. Held, 3 catches, 70 yards, man. And you don't win that battle when the corner that's covering you has 2 interceptions in the game. Clark was able to still be Clark. Physical receiver, very, very deceptive speed, great route runner, physical when it goes down attacking the ball 50-50. Hunter was able to match up with him. And, although he had 6 catches for 115 yards, it kept him out the end zone. I don't think their success or lack of was mainly because the cornerbacks or the DBs in Baltimore just gloved these guys. I think it was more of a unit. It worked together. The front 7 and the penetration that they had all day allowed the Baltimore secondary to play a little loose. And they just stayed aggressive, and we played a lot of zone coverage with a mix of man, and we were able to get some things done in that game. Do I think Amari Clark and Troy Franklin are you know, are showing us something that, you know, maybe we should look for? Like, are they done? I think, hell no, these guys are exactly who they are. Simple as that. They just ran into a hungrier team. Simple as that. All right. Blocking. Let's look at the sacks. Who gave up sacks right now? Look at both teams. Yander, the center, gave up a sack. Young Hillhouse gave up a sack as well. Demarius Harrell gave up a sack. Trey Red Big gave up a sack as well. And you'll see that only 2 New Orleans Saints linemen gave up sacks, right? But a lot of it wasn't registered. So let's go look on the defensive side of things. Let's start with the Baltimore Ravens. Stingley led the day in tackles, 6 tackles, but he also had 2 interceptions in the game. Other than that, you know, we had Deron Adams from the linebacker level. Killer Kyle Hamilton also had a pick, and old veteran, ready to retire veteran too, Anthony Israel stepped in and got an interception in this game as well. Baltimore hangs home, and they get to go party in Baltimore and whatever club they like to go to after a big win. 55-10 with the ball game. Now, as we continue to go down, I got to come back to this game. There's so much to talk about. Panthers, Falcons. All right, so Carolina went into Atlanta. Anytime divisional teams play, anything can happen, man. And let's take a look at and see what happened in this ball game. 529 yards from that high-octane offense to the Falcons. 289 on the ground for the Panthers. And, they're getting busy there. Only 84 yards rushing for the Falcons. 445 in the passing game and 97 yards in the passing game for the Panthers. First down, 15-12. And you can't win the game with turnovers. Anytime you're turning the ball over, especially 9 times, you're not winning that ball game. Well, you shouldn't win that ball game. It's really hard to overcome 9 turnovers. Let's see what happens in this game. Milroy through 12.8 QBR. Hold up, wait a minute. All right, so when you play a divisional opponent, you're playing somebody you're kind of familiar with because you play them 2 times a year, every year, right? I wonder why Milroy struggled in this game. I want to know what he saw. He was only sacked twice, so this was a coverage game. That buzz coverage, and we're going to see what it was, but that buzz coverage, just imagine if this quarterback can, you know, be a little bit more efficient and not produce these type of numbers in a game where your running back had 30 carries for 208 yards. And I said he had to average 200 yards going forward, and he did exactly that. Brought that average up to 7.2, 2 rushing touchdowns. E.J. Smith, Emmett's son, 15 for 81, 5.4. Milroy, 3 carries, 70 yards, 23.3 yards. But he turned the ball over 8 times on interceptions. Deion Pitts went off, the veterans, 5 catches, 218 yards, 43.6 yards a pop, 3 touchdowns. Brian Gibson, that tight end, had 97 yards and a touchdown. LaVista Carroll out the backfield, 4 catches, 44 yards, 2 touchdowns in this game. But when you look at the Panthers, let's take a look at it. Wilcox, the tight end, we expect him to do something, right? Chris Hood, 21.5, 2 catches. And it just really wasn't a lot of passing, obviously, because they're going to run it down your fucking throat. But when you do pass the ball, you got to be more efficient than 12.8 QBR. And that's the reason why the game was won by the Falcons. Simple as that, because anytime a guy's run game working like that, you know, they can control the game. Only way you don't control the game when you're having a good day running the ball is by turning the ball over. The Panthers did account for 3 interceptions. Brian Cook had a pick, the safety from Cincinnati. Chase Bailey, Champ's son, had an interception in this game as well. And then Harrison Taggart, you know, the Oregon's new coach, his son, that middle linebacker, used to coach Clemson, had an INT in this game too. Panthers got some good players on this team. All right, let's look at the Falcons and see what they did in the interception category. Jaden Lucas had 3, so did Damon Buzz David, 3 interceptions in this game. Isaac Smith from the strong safety position had 1. JoJo Randolph, cornerback, had a pick, and then Curtis Jacobs, the outside linebacker for the Falcons, had an INT in this game as well. Panthers travel to ATL and take a loss 56-20. They got a rebound, or they got a big game in Baltimore. I don't know if that game's home or away, but they got a big game. So they gotta be able to rebound from that game, and I know they can. We don't want them to rebound on us, but we know they can rebound. Football team Eagles 35-27. CPU game, Rob's on vacation. Football team takes the dub 35-27, and he did it respectfully. Vikings Jaguars 38-13. Cowboys Giants. This was our pick'em game right here, and 50 was home on the Cowboys. Now, Snake, I got love for you. I think you are playing great this year. But 7-1 versus 8-0, and you travel to New York, and get 50 home on you. I need answers. I need money. I need answers. Box score 440 to 288, 161 in the run game and 198. The Giants outrushed the outstanding running Cowboys. Fuck the Thursday night theme song. Did your guys hear that? The Cowboys, who've been outrushing everybody all year, went into New York and got outrushed by the New York Giants. Now, we heard Mad Max say Katron Allen was a slept-on running back, and y'all need to get familiar with him. Is this a statement? 198 yards? You know, we got some really good running backs in the NFC East. Katron is saying right now to the NFC East, don't forget about me. I know y'all excited what RO do and what he's been doing all year, but the real running back resides in New York. I mean, that's the statement I think he's making. 127 yards passing for the Cowboys, and this is the problem. I told y'all we had to figure out if the Cowboys was going to reveal who their number one target in the passing game was. We'll see, 242. Now, the Giants didn't go crazy in the air. They had a balanced attack, run and passing. But what I do know is that when you're playing against the number one rushing team goes into New York and plays against the number 3 against the rush and the number 1 overall defensive team in the league. And what happens is they only turned the ball over 3 times, but 3 times and them not turning over none means something. All right, Bryce Young, 155.1 QB rating, 256, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, was sacked twice. CJ Stroud, 75.5, 147, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and was sacked twice in the game. In the run game, 12. So it looks like they did it with a tandem. So now I'm about to take my statement back. Now, I'm not mad at this. 2 running backs getting busy for the Giants, but this wasn't a Katron Allen statement game. It might have been a young diaper dandy Yasin Willis statement game, meaning it might have been a coming out party for Yasin Willis, averaging 9 yards a carry on 12 with 105 and a touchdown, 2 broken tackles. Owen still came to play, 23 carries, but he's held well below his average, 200 yards a game, and well below his 9 yards a carry with 4.4 yards. I mean, he really went into New York and got shut. And he fumbled. Let that thing go. Let that thing go. Go. Tell me what you're used to. And he let that thing go. Go. All right. Allen, 14 carries, 5 yards a pop, 71 yards and a touchdown. So it was a collective backfield with the New York Giants. They did it with 2 backs, and they got their young gunner going. This might be a coming out party for him. Now, fellas, ask me this, or help me get to this answer. Is this scary? The Giants are the number 1 defense in the league right now, and they are starting to put together a really good backfield. If that makes sense, between 2 running backs right now, are starting to get some work and getting it done right now. Let's look and see what happens. Let's break this in 2. All right, 2 catches, 86 yards, and a touchdown, 43 yards a pop. So he caught a bomb. Bell also caught a bomb, 56 yards. And I'm not, me personally, if you score 1 play tutties on me, I'm not concerned. Something happened, we broke down. If you put a drive together on me, then we in trouble. But between the weapons that the Cowboys have, they only produce 4 receptions in a game where you're 7-1 playing an 8-0 team, and this is for the division, and you can't produce anything in the passing game. And that's just concern for me going forward. Because as the competition get better, you're gonna have to be able to show that C.J. Stroud belongs, and he's a top tier quarterback, and he can make shit happen within your system. But this is not gonna cut it. 4 catches from 3 players. Now on the flip side of things, Giants George Pickens is fitting in really well with this New York Giants team. 3 catches, 87 yards, 2 touchdowns. And he did quote and say, in Baltimore, I felt like I was the forgotten man. The offensive coordinator really just didn't, see me as a every down receiver, like for the most part. Like, although I was the number one over there, he just because I was 6'5", he treated me as if I was a red zone threat and a red zone threat only. He didn't take my skill sets and things that I can do and that I've done, for that team, and allow me to be a guy that can, make real legit plays for them. And and I'm in New York, and I think they understand that was my argument of trying to get out of Baltimore. And as I've spoken to the offensive coordinator, I don't want to be used that way at all. Like, I want you to be able to use my talent. And 3 catches, 87 yards, 2 touchdowns. You would think Pickens would be satisfied, but he's not. He wants number one targets. He's saying, he's tired of being second fiddle or third fiddle to guys that, you brought me in to do something, so allow me to do it. And he was quoted on saying, DK Metcalf, when he played for the Giants, that's the attention I'm expecting to get. So we got to find out why the Giants, aren't really seeing him as their number one right now. And what are you going to do when your receiver is unhappy right now in a situation? All right, Pittman had 5 catches, 64 yards. And Worthy had 2 for 62. Caught 1 pass for a touchdown out of that backfield. So let's go look at that stingy defense. RC, their defensive leader, has 7 tackles, and he said that he's the leader of their defense, 7 tackles in this game. When it comes down to getting to the quarterback, RC got there, and Savell Smalls, and then when it comes down to interceptions, Clark Phillips, the only person that had picks. But again, when you're not throwing the ball like the Cowboys don't, when they do, you got to make something happen. And they did. Clark Phillips, third, had 2 teams for that game. And the New York Giants take care of business in New York, 52-18 over the Cowboys. I don't think this loss killed the Cowboys. What I think it do is it revealed something. It revealed something. You can allow the running back out there to have a 100-yard day. Just don't let him have a 200-yard day. Because if you have a 100-yard day, that means they still got to pass to win. But if you have a 200-plus yard day, it's a wrap. They're going to win a ball game without having to reveal what their weakness is, and their weakness is throwing the football. All right, so can Snake recover from that? Because guys are going to be gunning at that. They're going to be let's just contain that running back and make this team throw the football. And if they throw the football, they can't throw the ball in the ocean that's standing 10 feet away from them. So let's make them throw it. And that's what they're going to do and say. All right. Bucks are on vacation. Bengals got the first win in that game. Bucks got to hurry up and get back. Browns, Steelers, 47-28 ball game. And you look at what happened in this game. 106.1 QB rating for Matt Corral, 311 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks. And Demetrius Davis been doing what he's been doing all year, which is donate. D stands for donate the football. Hit that one funny? For real? I didn't make you laugh? DD stands for donate the football.
Oh, I get it.
Oh, all right. Well, funny to none of y'all fuckers. All right, forget y'all, man. Fuck it. Well, we know Demetrius Davis been turning the ball over, and that's what he continued to do in this game 6 times. Brian Robinson Jr. is starting to, show that he is the number one back in this offense. 9 carries, 142 yards. I mean, anytime a guy averages 16 yards to carry on you, he's having a good fucking day. Look, DD had 2 fumbles in this game. What that DD stand for? Donate the football. He accounted for 8 turnovers for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's not good over there. Sharp had 140 yards. Travion Henderson out the backfield had 106 yards and a touchdown. Zach Wheatley, the veteran, 5 catches for 93 yards and a touchdown. Peyote had 51 yards and a touchdown. And their number one receiver, Jordan Addison, only touched the ball twice, but scored twice in that ball game. Cleveland is still fighting for that division right now. They're back at it, getting dubs again. They're on like a 2-game winning streak after losing to the Ravens. Chargers, Chiefs, 28-14. Chargers take the dub. 20-31, Houston over the Raiders. 49ers, 34-19, Cardinals over the 49ers. Colts, Titans, 39-22. We're going to talk and stop here for a second. Let's get back into my Thursday night news. Listen, man, both these teams that are playing each other are the same, in my opinion. And what I mean by that is these guys can give you a big win and then give you a loss. Now, I'm not mad at the losing team of this game. I wish they could have built off of them the success they had against the football team and took it into this game and was able to pull this dub out. At the same time, you want to see the coach fighting and clawing and scratching and crawling their asses back into the win column at the same time. So you got 2 division guys meeting up who know each other really well, and they go after each other. 39-22 was the score, and let's see what happened in this game. Some players do reveal themselves as guys you need to watch out for. Cunningham, 255 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He was sacked 5 times, though. Ritter had an 80.6. He didn't touch 100 yards. He had a half a man, 52, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Wasn't sacked at all, but didn't have a good day at all. In the run game, Mike said, I need to win. He gave his fucking running back 31 carries, 290 yards, 9.43 rushing touchdowns with Saquandre White. Mike, you got a big time back in the backfield at times, and he was big time in this game. They said, fuck throwing the football. We're going to rely on him and him early and often. And that's what they did. They gave their running back a football, and they ran themselves to a victory. To the house, 16 carries, 78 yards. Ritter also kicked in with a 16-yard gain in that game right there. That's enough. All right. Now, we talked earlier on the chat when I said Dijon Warren is possibly the best cornerback in the league. Man-to-man. Cover corner in the league. And Hussein said, no, sir. And nobody else really made a comment because nobody's probably paying attention. But here, look. I'm saying Dijon Warren. Now, he came out when Kool-Aid came out. Is Dijon Warren, should we be talking about him as one of the top corners in the league?
Sure.
I definitely think we should. Me personally, I think the guy is not only their best DB, he's put in a situation to have to cover the number 1 receivers in the league when they match up. And they play a lot of man, so he draws a lot of one-on-one with the top receivers in the league. And, he does a really solid job of that. I like this kid. I think we ignored them because they're not playing in the playoffs. Like, if they were playing late, guys would probably agree with me when I say Dijon Warren is a shutdown corner in this league. I'm not going to say he's the best. I'm just going to call him a man-to-man guru, a man-to-man shutdown corner in this league. Packers, Rams, 14-17. This is 2 teams that, don't play each other. Harrelberg is back in the league. They don't really match up with each other, so they had to fill each other out. And I think that's what we saw. 333 on the offensive yards game, 271. The run game, Harrelberg is 214, 128 for the Rams, 119 and then 143 in the passing game. And look at the turnovers; it was kind of even 3 for the Packers, 2 for the Rams in this game. Let's go look at individual play. 94 QB rating. Dr. Doolittle is still starting in this league. Oh wow, he's starting over Pat White Jr. They both 12 years in. Ugalele 69.1, 155, a touchdown and 2 picks. Got to clean that up. 2 sacks. Let's look at the run game though. All right, Jared Gibson, diaper dandy, 17 carries for 171 yards. He averaged 10 yards a pop. E.B. Savage still kicking, 14 carries, 125, 8.9 and a touchdown. And Doolittle also produced a touchdown on the ground in this ball game. In the receiving game, Theo Fletcher, 2 catches, 64 yards and a touchdown. And then you got to go down here. The 99 Reasons is still, 99 Reasons is still in the league. Hillburgers don't give a fuck. He said, let's go. He played for the Packers. He had 2 catches, 15 yards, still getting He got Doolittle at quarterback and motherfucking 99 Reasons still getting stats. Oh, shit. Oh, my God. 99 Reasons getting to it. All right, fellas. Let's get to that Dolphins-Broncos game, man. This was a good one. If you wasn't tuned into it, you was tuned into the wrong shit. Man. All right, so let's talk about it. First half, we go into that ball game, man, and the Dolphins went down the field, and their first touchdown was produced by White Mike. White Mike stepped in and got his first touchdown of the game, and then the Broncos said, let's give it to our Factor Baxter, Mr. Factor Baxter, and he just took the team right up the field. Carry after carry after carry for a touchdown. In fact, we had Felix Harper with 108, 334 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Now, I know I said in the chat that Shedeur had to be the X factor of this game. Now, I'm not saying he had a great game at all. 54.7, 225 yards. He had a terrible QBR. He threw no touchdowns. He threw 3 interceptions and was sacked 3 times. But the X factor of Shedeur Sanders came out on that last drive, because he made 3 big key throws on that drive to keep the drive moving and for them to get into, pretty much 2 touchdowns, but they fell down to better run that clock out. Good coaching, and we talked about that. The coaching of the Broncos, it showed up. Why? Because the Dolphins, let's just call it what it is, did a bonehead situation. What was that? With 4 seconds to go in the red zone, somewhere between 25-yard line and in, they had an opportunity to go up to kick a field goal and give them 3 points before half. They decided to go for it on with 4 seconds left. Coaching, right? Because in the last drive for the Broncos, they showed coaching. What they did was, instead of scoring a touchdown fast, they caught a nice pass. Harrison broke loose, and they made it. They just fell down, fall down, tag me. Let's chew that fucking clock, choo, and score a touchdown and leave you, not a lot of time to be able to do anything. So in that sense, Shedeur made a couple of throws on that drive, to me, to say that he showed up when they was needed. But then Felix Harper, trigger man, turned into trigger man. And he put a hell of a drive together, and it was questionable. Now, I don't know what I saw. Did that tight end catch the ball, but they called him out of bounds, or did he drop the ball? That's my first question. And then my second question is, they dial up a mesh concept play, and you got all crossers going around all over the field. Will right out the backfield from the running back, and your outside receiver, which was your guy, White Mike, ran to the end zone and hooked up and was sitting there, snapping for the football for like 4 seconds, just snapping. And here's my problem with the Dolphins. When you miss that, it's because you wasn't looking at it. It wasn't never a thought in your head that route would get open, right? And it was hard for me to see how you missed it, because all the other routes was crossing that mesh point. So those routes that were running crossing routes would have directed your eyes to that route. He was so wide open for so long. By the time you did throw it to him, the window ended up closing. He saw it super late. But I also know this. I run that play, and you usually not looking for that route at all. Anyway, that's more of a space route, a clear route, a route to just hold the defense. But that route was wide open. White Mike was wide open. I know if he goes back to that, that's a touchdown there. And I understood that too, Lurker, but it wasn't nobody in the middle of the field. He was chasing crossers. Because if the Lurker was there, he would have picked it off because he threw the ball late. And he didn't even fire it in. He like lobbed it because he saw it at the last minute, like, oh shit. And that, but I don't want to give him a moral situation. What I'm saying is they put a hell of a drive together to get down there. It was almost like, the Super Bowl when Craig got right back down there and 5 seconds left, one play, they'll either go into overtime or lose the game. And that's what happened with the Dolphins. But they missed a field goal in that game. They didn't take a field goal in that game, which relied on, them losing. And what happens is you got a good coach, and Jimbo's a great coach, and he's going to coach the football game. And that's the thing, right? My one checkpoint maybe is with 4:24 to go on 4th and 3, not knowing the rules. I would have paused the fuck out of that game and said, punt the ball. Just a little Jim I'm going to throw out of there. But neither one of y'all niggas a bitch ass nigga, so that shit wouldn't matter. You just going to line up and play football. But that was something that was brought up to me by Hitter. And I noticed it as well, right? Hitter, you said it, I was coming on saying it too. Like, yo, you're supposed to punt that shit on that 4th and 3 with 4:24, because the rule is at the 4-minute mark you can go for it, unless you're down 2 scores. Now, that don't matter. Don't take away from what the game was. I'm not bringing that up to be on some like, oh, he cheated you. Please don't take it that way. Like, I know we can get the wrong messages sometimes. I'm bringing it up because I'm a petty ass nigga. I would have wanted that dub. I'd have paused that shit and would have been like, you gotta punt that shit, bro. And at that point, that would have been the most corniest rule ever, right? Because that type of ball game, like, man, look, man, I'm down 2. I might not get the ball back with 4:24 left. You know what I mean? If I punt this ball, who knows if I'm gonna get this ball back or not? Simple as that. So I get it. So for real. So what I would say is, we saw Trigger Man play really well, but we saw Shador turn into that X factor when Jimbo needed him to. But let's look at the game, man. Baxter, 26 carries, 204 yards, 5 rushing touchdowns. He went fucking crazy. I'm sorry, Snake. At this point, after watching your game and watching this game, I don't know, man. I think Baxter ain't no more landslide conversations. Baxter, has that argument right now. I mean, look what this kid. The Dolphins knew that he was getting the football. On all 26 of those carries, he knew he was getting the football. And that man showed up and showed off. Now, in the passing game, let's look at the Broncos first. Harrison with the 5 catches, 113 yards. His biggest catch being the last catch of that last drive he had. Solid. Nobody scored a touchdown in the air at all, but they all, made some plays when they needed to. I mean, every last one of these guys was walking first downs. So a lot of these catches were big catches. And then in the Dolphins, Deion Smith showed up and showed off. 5 catches, 131 yards, 2 touchdowns. Shit, Danny Gray had 3 for 97 and a touchdown. And this is the first game in about 4 games we see White Mike under 10 catches and under 100 yards right now. 5 catches and under 2 to 4 touchdowns, right? 5 for 54 and a touchdown in this game. Don't let Pistol Word catch up to your diaper, dandy. Who was that just popped on the screen? Was that Falky? Falky! All right, so this was the game of the night on some real shit. Now, we had 3 pick'em games because the football team and Eagles game wasn't a user game. So if you pick 2 out of the 3 games, you will get the gift. Remember, send your information over to Max. You do have 24 hours for that. This is not you had to watch the show to get it. You just have 24 hours to make the pick, right? But your picks got to be in now that the games were played. But you got 24 hours to turn it in. That's what I meant to say, to turn it in, right? And we know, don't try to be slick and turn some shit in knowing damn well you know who the games won already was. We know. We know. Let's look at the DB matchups, though. All right, so hold on. First of all, Deion Smith and Danny Gray had a big day. McEwen ain't have a bad day at all, but let's go look at the defense of the Broncos, see how they did in their secondary. Shiloh and Shields had picks. Linebacker and Shiloh had picks. Macy Robinson both have 4 and 3 tackles in that game. So the matchups was there. I keep missing, laughing out loud. Terrible. I done missed them all this year. All right, man. That's what you got to see. The Dolphins versus the Broncos, and the Dolphins lost that game 33-28. Ravens Saints was a pick'em game. Saints lose that game 10-55, and the Cowboys and the Giants was a pick'em game, and the Cowboys lost that game 18-52. Week 10 matchups: Titans Jaguars, pretty solid matchup there, fellas. Packers Bills. That's a good matchup too, because Harold Burgers is fighting for his division, so that's an alright matchup right there. Bengals Steelers, the Mud Bowl. Dolphins need a rebound game. They playing the Jets, Falcons, and Saints. This is another big game. Last time these two met up, Falcons is going to be looking for revenge, and the Saints don't want to go on a 2-game losing streak here. So they got to show back up, travel from Baltimore, go home for a couple of days, and travel right back to Atlanta and get ready to play on the road again in a game that they got to win, in my opinion, for their team morale. They got to win that game. Lions Vikings, Lions the Force. Texans Colts. All right, man. Divisional game. Can Mike win 2 in a row? Rams Seahawks. And this is the game of the week for me. I want to watch this game. I want to see how these two guys match up and see what happens in this game. So we're going to use this as a pick'em game of week 10. Rams Seahawks. The only game you got to worry about. Pick your winners. Raiders get the first one over the Chiefs. Ravens Panthers. McCoy looking to bounce back off their loss to the Falcons right now, and now Baltimore, after playing home for the last 3 to 4 games, they got to travel into Carolina. Last time they went to Carolina, they had to pull out the win at the end. This Carolina team gave them all types of fits in Carolina. So we gotta hope that we can make their quarterback rattle him a little bit too. And the only way that's going to happen if we can maintain and control that run game. Chargers, Cardinals, big time game right here. Maybe this is a pick'em game too. Corey versus Falk. We haven't seen that matchup in a while. Maybe that might be a picker game right now. Buccaneers, 49ers. Buck should be getting that win. 49ers checked out. Eagles, Giants, sucks. He's on vacation, so he's going to take that loss there. And then Bears, Patriots. Bears will get the win in that game. All right, fellas, so here's my matchup. I do think the Rams and the Seahawks will be my pick'em game of the week. And let's notify this game right here, Chargers, Cardinals. I'm going to make this a hard pick'em. We're going to have to do not just pick the winner, pick the score. And you don't have to, nobody has to be perfect on the score. But like, let's say you say, I see a 10-point win, and they win by 8. I give it to you. You know what I'm saying? All right, so pick the score of this game. So you got to pick the winner and pick the score. And whoever comes closest to the score that they picked, I got you on the gotcha. And now, notice. Send the information to match, please. Get it all in before these games get played. The moment the games get played is locked. It's over with. Through 10 weeks of football, let's go look real fast at the stats and see who's doing what through 10 weeks of football right now. All right, your top 5 passers in the league are Felix Harper at 1, 41-53. Ray Wills at 2, 37-19. Khalid Williams at 3, 36-92. Anthony Iverson at 4, 35-30. And Nico Amaliva at 5, 33-73. Touchdowns on the year right now. Your top 5 touchdown guys are Felix Harper with 46. Anthony Iverson second with 43. Khalid Williams with 40. He's 4th on the list. Nico is 5. 1, 2, 3. No, Nico's 4. I'm sorry. Khalid Williams is 3. Nico is 5. Ray Wills is 6 at 34. All right, so 46, 43, 40, 35, and 34 are your top 5 touchdown makers. Who donating the most? Malik Willis with 50 picks. Demetrius Davis donate the football, 41 interceptions. Ugalele with 29. Ritter with 26. And then Cummins with 24. Who got the most carries in the league? And in surprise effort, Jalen Knighton takes that down, 234. Owens with 216. Baxter with 200. Sawchuck with 199. And to the house with 170 yards right now. Ruben Owens with 1875. Baxter with 1537. Knighton with 1067. And that's our 3,000 yard backs on the year. This thus far through 10 weeks, or through 9 weeks of football. At 4, Harris at 982. And to the house with 919. Both of these guys should have 1,000 yards before their next game is over with. All right, touchdowns from running backs is not close. 30 from Owens, 18 from the factor backer. Evan Pryor was 16. Jaleel Ruggs was 15. And then there's the kid Zeus with 14. He's still balling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, sir. Top 5 right there. All right, receiving. Receptions right now. Your top 5 are Mike McEwen, White Mike, 86 catches. Torrey Franklin with 75. Amari Clark with 73. Pistol Work with 61. Malachi Myman with 53. There go your top 5 reception guys. Yards starts with Mike, 1839. Ward was 1617. Amari Clark 1562. Torrey Franklin 1320. And then Deion Smith steps in front of Wyman with 1093 to take that 5th spot. But your 1,000 yard receivers are Wyman and Pittman as well. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 receivers over 1,000 yards right now. Touchdowns. 28 from White Mike, 23 from Pistol. Amari Clark with 20. Torrey Franklin with 14. Tied with Malachi Wyman with 14. And then at 12, you got Christian Watson and Thaddeus Woodbury. And at 11, at 5, you got Deion Smith and Teion Pitts tied. So we got a couple of ties here with 28 dominating the touchdown race right now. All right, tackle for losses. Elliot Donald and Brian Breezy from the Baltimore Ravens are 20 and 19. Miles Murphy for the Chiefs. Tywan Malone with 11 for the football team. 10 out of Bugsy Smith. 10 out of Steve McQueen. 10 out of Malik Silla. 10 out of David Ojobo. And 10 out of Curtis Perry. Curtis. Sack leaders right now. All right, Barno with 16 and a half. Peter Woods with 15. Keyshawn Peppers with 14. The guy that's been stepping that's having a breakout year is Anani White with 11 and a half. And then Jesse Luketa with 11 as well. Angelo Falk, 10 and a half. Jacobs with 10. Spillman with 10. And Thibodeau with 10. And Trayvon Walker for the Cardinals all got 10. They were your double-digit sack guys right now. INTs, 13 for Damon the Buzz David. Najee Israel with 12. Marquise Breeston, 10, the man in the middle. And Zach Holliday, the shutdown corner, with 7 of them things. Then your tie with 6 with Israel, Petrie, Hamill, Rosas, a lot of 6s, and Raheem Ross, the newcomer right now. Old chatter new. Huh? What I miss? Oh, I didn't even see that. Walking in the building. Calling. I keep missing after the out Rams. I'll take that. Old chatter new. I'm confused. Alright. Let's see who's making guys fumble. Eli Berry, Tylon Shazier, Michael Clemens, Inani White. I told you Inani having a breakout year right now. Who's taking shit to the crib? Right now, Damon David, 3. You got Terrence Bethel, and then a whole bunch of 2s. Alright. None. I'm pulling up to the crib. Are you back from work that fast? That was the shortest shift I ever seen. Alright, fellas. Max is back, so get y'all information to him right now. Other than that, I catch you on the backside. Holla at us.